Hare Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare 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 Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Ram Hare Hare
Hare Ram, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare.
Vasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandho Jagatpate Gopesha Gopikanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchan Gorangi Radhe Vrindaneshwari Vishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Narayanam Namaskritya Chanam Cheva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayamudhire. Sri Radhe Golokananda Bhagwan ki
Jai.
Jai.
Hare Krishna Jai.
Hare Krishna, sir. Hare Krishna, everyone.
Hare Krishna Jyoti. Hare Krishna Sachin.
Hare Krishna.
Krishna.
Hare Krishna, everyone.
Anilji, Hare Krishna. Cool. So
Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna.
कल हम लोग श्लोक 24 पढ़ रहे थे ऑफ अध्याय 2 कैंटो 4 या और इसमें we saw how Maharaja Daksh was speaking wrong words for Lord Shiva. Yeah. And not only that, he was like started kind of cursing Lord Shiva. Yeah. Lord Shiva didn't say anything, being the great Vaishnava, but Nandishwar, who is the biggest disciple of Lord Shiva, got angry and he started giving shrap to Maharaja Daksh and also all the Brahmins who were gathered there and were not opposing him. Yeah. So that's what we are reading right now, that how Nandishwar is giving all these words to Daksh Maharaja. Hare Krishna, Tarun.
Hare Krishna, Gajendra. Hare Krishna, everyone.
Hare Krishna. Nice to see you back. Everything good?
Yeah, all good. Thank you.
Nice. So, Tarun, we are reading about Sati and
Hare
Shiva.
Krishna, everyone.
Okay.
And then Lord Shiva and all the Rishi Munis have gathered to do the Yajna, Mahayajna. But when Raja Daksha enters there, he expects everyone to respect him. But Lord Shiva and Lord Brahma doesn't stand up, everybody else does. And Lord Brahma then welcomes him. So Maharaja Daksha gets upset by Lord Shiva and he says all the bad words to Lord Shiva. Yeah. So Lord Shiva doesn't say anything, but his disciple Nandi, yeah, as we know, Nandishwar, he gets angry and then he is giving shrap to Maharaja Daksha. That's what we are reading right now. Okay. So yesterday we read Shlok 24, and where he's saying like those who have become as dull as matter by cultivating materialistic education and intelligence are nascently involved in creative activities. Such men have purposely insulted Lord Shiva. May they continue in the cycle of repeated birth and death. Yeah. So we see a couple of things here. First of all, the shrap given by Nandishwar to all the people who are gathered there, like which includes all the big Rishi Munis, Devatas, and so on and so forth. And he's saying that may they continue in the cycle of repeated birth and death. So just by looking at this, we can see that being in this cycle of birth and death is not a good thing. Right? Otherwise, why would Nandishwar say this to all these Rishi Munis who gathered there? Right? So that's what Nandishwar is giving sharp to Daksh and all the everyone else who has gathered here. Like he says here, the 3 curses mentioned above are sufficient to make one as dull as stone, void of spiritual knowledge, and preoccupied with materialistic education. So the sharp given here is be preoccupied with materialistic education, which is Neshines. After uttering these curses, Nandishwar then cursed the Brahmins to continue in the cycle of birth and death because of their supporting Daksha in blaspheming Lord Shiva. Yeah. Hare Krishna, Pravinji. Okay, so we'll read from Shlok 25. Yeah. Anilji.
जी हाँ गिरः श्रुतायाः पुष्पुण्या मधुगन्धेन भूरिणा मत्ना चोन्मितात्मानः सम्मुह्यन्तु हरदृशः. May those who are envious of Lord Shiva, being attracted by the flowery language of the enchanting Vedic promises, and who have thus become dull, always remain attached to the fruitive activities. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. So who is saying this?
Nandishwar.
Nandishwar, yeah? And Nandishwar is saying it to whom?
All the Brahmins.
All the Rishi Munis gathered there.
All Daksh, right? Prajapati Daksh and all the Rishi Munis who have gathered there, saying that all those people who are envious of Lord Shiva, Giraha Shrutaya hai, is Puspa Inya Madhu Gandhena Bhurina. What it means is being attracted by the flowery language of the enchanting Vedic promises. Yeah. And he is giving them a curse that always remain attached to the fruitive activities. Fruitive activities means the karma. And when they are attached to the karma, they are going to get the reaction and be continuing in this cycle of birth and death. Yeah. It says here the Vedic promises of elevation to the higher planets for a better standard of materialistic life are compared to flowery language, because in a flower, there is certainly an aroma, but that aroma does not last for a very long time. In a flower, there is honey, but that honey is not eternal. So even if they will be in the higher planets, it's only for a temporary period of time, yeah, which may be longer, but still it's temporary, is what is being mentioned, yeah. Sachin?
सर्वभक्ष द्विजा वृत्यय द्रुत विद्यात ओव्रता वित्त देहे देहेन्द्रिया रामा याचका विचरन त्विह. These brahmanas take to education, austerity, and vows only for the purpose of maintaining the body. They shall be devoid of discrimination between what to eat and what not to eat. They will acquire money begging from door to door simply for the satisfaction of the body. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Yeah, so Nandishwar is continuing speaking about those Brahmins, saying that, yeah, they will be with Deha Indriya Rama. Yeah, for Indriya Aram, for with, they will be Yachaka, which are Itaniviha, yeah, like begging door to door, yeah, for the satisfaction of the body. Again, it's a long purport, but a very nice purport. So we are going to read this. So let's read this. Tarun?
The third curse inflicted by Nandiswara on the Brahmanas who supported Daksha is completely functioning in the age of Kali. The so-called Brahmanas are no longer interested in understanding the nature of the Supreme Brahman, although a Brahmana means one who has attained knowledge about Brahman. In the Vedanta Sutra, also it is stated, Ahato Brahma Jignyasa. This human form of life is meant for realization of the Supreme Brahman, the absolute truth. Or in other words, human life is meant for one's elevation to the post of a Brahmana. Unfortunately, the modern Brahmanas, or so-called Brahmanas, who come in originally Brahminical families, have left their own occupational duty, but they do not allow others to occupy the post of Brahmanas. Hare Krishna. This is so true statement.
Yeah. So very interesting to read what's happening in Kali Yuga, and what a Brahman really means is to attain the supreme Brahm. But all these things happened because of all those what Nandishwar's shrap given at that point in time. So that's also very interesting to see, right? Jyoti?
I'll be in listen only mode, please, today, because I'm just doing some work also and listening.
That's fine, Jyoti. Thanks. Yeah, no worries.
Thank you. Thank you.
Ajay?
Sure. The qualification for Brahmana are described in the scriptures in Srimad Bhagavatam, Bhagavad Gita, and all other Vedic literature. Brahman is not a hereditary title or position. If someone from a non-Brahman family, for example, one born in family of Shudras, tries to become a Brahman by being properly qualified under the instruction of a bona fide spiritual master, these sacrificed Brahmana will object. Such Brahmanas, having been cursed by Nandishwara, are actually in a position where they have no discrimination between eatables and non-eatables and simply live to maintain the perishable material body and its family. Such fallen conditioned souls are not worthy to be called Brahmanas, but in Kali Yuga they claim to be Brahman, and if a person actually tries to attain the Brahmanical qualification, they try to hinder his progress. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you, Ajay. Hare Krishna, Praveen ji. Padenge?
Ji. This is the situation in the present age. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu condemned this principle very strongly. During his conversation with Ramanand Rai, he said that regardless of whether a person is born in a Brahman family or Shudra family, regardless of whether he is a householder or a sannyasi, if he knows the science of Krishna, he must be a spiritual master. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu had many so-called Shudra disciples like Haridasa Thakur and Ramanand Rai. Even the Goswamis, who were principal students of Lord Chaitanya, were also ostracized from Brahmana society. But Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, by his grace, made them first-class Vaishnavas. Hare Krishna.
Krishna. So I think the important part which is mentioned here is that a Brahman is not just by taking birth in a Brahman family, right? Anyone born in any family, Brahman or Shudra family, any family, or regardless of whether he's a sannyasi or a householder, he can still attain Brahman. He can still be a Brahman. Who is a Brahman is the one who knows the science of Krishna, right? Is the one who is Brahman, is what is being described here. And Chaitanya Mahaprabhu very well propagated that. Yeah. And that's why we see so many Vaishnavas who are totally devoted, totally devotional, totally in bhakti. They are the true Brahmans. Yeah, is what is being mentioned here. So read the next slok. Praveen ji. Praveen ji, can you hear us? आप म्यूट पे हैं प्रवीण जी. Can you hear? Okay, Sachin.
तस्येवं वदतः शापं श्रुत्वा द्विजकुलाय वै भृगुः प्रत्यसृज छापं ब्रह्मदण्डं दुरत्ययम्. When all the hereditary Brahmanas were thus cursed by Nandishwara, the sage Bhrigu, as a reaction, condemned the followers of Lord Shiva with this very strong Brahmanical curse. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Yeah, so it's now, so Nandishwar cursed all the Brahmins, and now Bhrigu Muni, Rishi Bhrigu, is now doing opposite. As a reaction, he is condemning the followers of Lord Shiva. And what it says here is, to get out of this material contamination, one should take shelter of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, as recommended in Bhagavad Gita. Mam iv ye prapadyante mayam itam taranti te. Means the best path is to transcend all material curses and benedictions and take shelter of the Supreme Lord Sri Krishna and remain in a transcendental position. Persons who have taken shelter of Krishna are always peaceful. They are never cursed by anyone, nor do they attempt to curse anyone. Excuse me. That is transcendental.
Bless you.
Yeah, thank you. So, yeah, what is being mentioned is, of course, once somebody is transcendental position, then those things doesn't happen, like cursing and non-cursing doesn't happen. So let's read the next book. Pravinji, can you hear us?
Yes, हाँ प्रभु जी.
हाँ, ठीक है, पढ़ेंगे.
भावव्रत. हाँ हाँ, मेरी आवाज आ रही ने?
अभी आ रही है. हाँ.
अच्छा अच्छा. हरे कृष्ण प्रभु जी.
हरे कृष्णा.
भावव्रतधराये चे तान् समुन्व्रताः पाषण्डिनस्ते भवन्तु सच्छात्र परिपन्थिनः. One who takes a vow to satisfy Lord Shiva or who follows such principles will certainly become an atheist, and he diverted from transcendental scriptural injunctions. Hare Krishna.
हरे कृष्णा. थैंक यू प्रवीण जी. आपके अच्छे बाहर आपकी सुबह सुबह बर्ड्स की आवाज आ रही है, बहुत अच्छी.
मैं इस वक्त प्रकृति के सुरम्य वातावरण में हूँ.
हाँ, वही लग रहा है.
हाँ.
Yeah. So as we see this shlok, basically now Bhrigu Rishi is now giving opposite shot to Lord Shiva and his devotees and Nandishwar, right? Like one who is satisfying Lord Shiva will become an atheist, is what Bhrigu Rishi is mentioning. Yeah. Yeah. He says here, Bhrigu Muni cursed that persons who worship Lord Shiva would become followers of this Mayavad Asat Sastra, which attempts to establish that the Supreme Personality of Godhead is impersonal. So that's where this whole concept of impersonal Brahma, which means Lord doesn't have a shape, right? Everything is just energy and those kind of things you'll hear, right? Is besides that, among the worshippers of Lord Shiva, there's a section who live in a devilish life. Srimad Bhagavatam and Narad Panchatattva are authorized scriptures that are considered Sat Sastra, or scriptures which lead one to the path of God realization. Asat Sastras are just the opposite, which basically says there is no shape and form of the Lord. Yeah. So Bhrigu Muni is saying that people who are following Lord Shiva will be like that. Yeah. So that is the curse going on back and forth. See the next slok. Ajay.
नष्ट शौचा मूढ़ धियो जटा भस्म स्थित धारिणः विशन्तु शिव दीक्षायाम यत्र दैवम सुरास्तवम. Those who vow to worship Lord Shiva are so foolish that they imitate him by keeping long hairs on their heads. When initiated into worship of Lord Shiva, they prefer to live on wine, flesh, and other such things. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Yeah, so Rishi Bhrigu is saying all this. Yeah. And the next slok, Tarun.
Brahmache brahmanam mams chaiva yadyuyam parinindata setam vidranam punsam matah pasadam asritaha. Bhrigu Muni continued, since you blaspheme the Vedas and the Brahmanas, who are followers of the Vedic principles, it is understood that you have already taken shelter of the doctrine of atheism. Hare Krishna.
Krishna. And Bhrigu Muni is saying this to whom? Whom is Bhrigu Muni answering back to?
Nandishwar.
Nandishwar, right? Nandishwar and Lord Shiva, followers. Saying that because you have given all this curse to Brahmins, you are already atheist. Because cursing Brahman is like blaspheming the Vedas, is what Bhrigu Muni is saying. Yeah. And again, a long purport, but I think it's a nice one to read. Right? It says here, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has said that the followers of the Buddhist system of religion are Gnostics. In order to establish his doctrine of non-violence, Lord Buddha flatly refused to believe in the Vedas. And thus later on, Shankaracharya stopped this system of religion in India and forced it to go outside India. Here it is stated, Brahma or Brahmanam. Brahma means the Vedas. Aham Brahmasmi means I am in full knowledge. The Vedic assertion is that one should think that he is Brahma, for actually he is Brahma. If Brahma or the Vedic spiritual science is condemned and the masters of the spiritual science, the Brahmins, are condemned, then where does human civilization stand? Bhrigu Muni said, it is not due to my cursing that you shall become atheist. You are already situated in the principle of atheism, therefore you are condemned. So that's what Bhrigu Muni is saying, because Nandeshwar was cursing all the Brahmins. Yeah.
A question here. How Bhrigu Muni is related to Daksh?
So you remember, like when the yajna started, right? Yajna started, all the rishis, all the munis, all the devatas, everybody came to attend the yajna.
Okay.
So Bhrigu Rishi also is attending the yajna. He is also one of the Prajapatis. Yeah. But Daksha, so then what happened, as you know, the Prajapati Daksh entered. When Prajapati Daksh entered, everybody was already present, including Lord Shiva, who is Mahadev, and Lord Brahma. So everyone was present. Maharaja Daksh, it was said that he was like having energy like sun. So he was shining like sun, and he had that personality. So when he entered the Yajna Sabha, everybody stood up, yeah, in respect of Prajapati Daksh, except Lord Brahma and Lord Shiva. So Lord Brahma still went and he welcomed Prajapati Daksh and gave him a seat, but Lord Shiva did not get up. Yeah. Now Lord Shiva had married to Sati. Sati is daughter of Prajapati Daksh.
Daksh.
So because Lord Shiva married to Sati, Daksh thought that he has already taken a subordinate position by marrying his daughter, because then he became his son-in-law. So he should have stood up and in respect of Prajapati Daksh. Right? So Prajapati Daksh got mad, but Mahadev is Mahadev. But Prajapati Daksh got mad and he started saying all those curses. Yeah. So Lord Shiva did not say anything, but Nandishwar started giving curses to all the Brahmins who were attending, because they were not opposing Prajapati Daksh when he was blaspheming Lord Shiva. Right? But when all that happened, but because Nandishwar blamed all the Brahmins, Bhrigu Rishi stood up for Brahmins.
Oh, okay.
And then he started cursing Lord Shiva's disciples. Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
एषेव हि लोकानां शिवः पन्थः सनातनः यं पूर्वे चानुसन्तस्थिर्तु यरत् प्रमाणं जनार्दनः. The Vedas give the eternal regulative principles for auspicious advancement in human civilization, which have been rigidly followed in the past. The strong evidence of this principle is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who is called Janardhan, the well-wisher of all living entities. Yeah. So again, it's a great paragraph. So we are going to read this. Yeah. Great purport. So let's read this, Tarun.
In the Bhagavad Gita, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Krishna, has claimed that He is the father of all living entities, regardless of form. There are 8,400,000 different species of life forms, and Lord Krishna claims that he is the father of all, because the living entities are parts and parcels of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. They are all sons of the Lord, and for their benefit, because they are hovering under the impression that they can lord it over material nature, the Vedas are given to them for their guidance. Therefore, the Vedas are called Aporosruseya, for they are not written by any man or demigod, including the first living creature, Brahma. Brahma is not the creator or author of the Vedas. He is also one of the living beings in this material world. Therefore, he does not have the power to write or speak the Vedas independently. Every living entity within this material world is subject to 4 deficiencies. He commits mistakes, he accepts one thing for another, he cheats, and he has imperfect senses. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, yeah. So what is being mentioned here is ultimately the father of all living entities, and living entities are of different species. I mean, science is still probably measuring it, but there are 8.4 million different species already written in our Vedas, right? And Lord Krishna is the father of all, because even with his external energy, this whole material world has been created. And however, what it is saying is that why are we in this materialistic world? Because we have a quality of little bit of independence. And with that, we wanted to load it over material nature. We wanted to be independent and enjoy the material nature. That's why we are here. Yeah. But Lord is so kind that he has given the Vedas to understand everything and go back to the spiritual world. Yeah. And it's called Aporoshaya because it's not written by any person, any man or any demigod. Yeah. It has come directly from the Supreme Lord himself is what is being mentioned. Yeah. So let's continue reading this, Sachin.
The Vedas, however, are not written by any living creature within this material world. Therefore, they are said to be apaurushaya. No one can trace out the history of the Vedas. Of course, modern human civilization has no chronological history of the world or the universe, and it cannot present actual historical facts older than 3,000 years. But no one has traced out when the Vedas were written because they were never written by any living being within this material world. All other systems of knowledge are defective because they have been written or spoken by men or demigods who are products of this material creation. But Bhagavad Gita is a Paurushaya, for it was not spoken by any human being or any demigod of this material creation. It was spoken by Lord Krishna, who is beyond the material creation. That is accepted by such stalwart scholars as Shankaracharya, not to speak of other acharyas such as Ramanujacharya and Madhavacharya. Shankaracharya has accepted that Narayana and Krishna are transcendental. And in Bhagavad Gita also Lord Krishna has established Aham Sarvasya Prabhavo Bhaktah Sarvam Pravartate. I am the origin of everything. Everything emanates from me. This material creation, including Brahma and Shiva and all the demigods, has been created by him. For everything has emanated from him. He also says that the purpose of all the Vedas is to understand him. Vedesha cha sarvair aham eva vedya. He is the original Veda with or knower of the Vedas and Vedanta Krit or compiler of Vedanta. Brahma is not the compiler of the Vedas. Hare
Hare Krishna. Yeah. So few things mentioned here is one is everything else is with like philosophical mindset created by the human beings here are not perfect because they're all created from the people in this material world, right? So, but the Bhagavad Gita is spoken by Lord Shri Krishna himself, right? So that is why it's a Purushaya, because that's by the Lord himself. Okay. And so Vedas is basically has come from directly from the Lord himself is what is being mentioned. So I read here, Pravinji. Ajay.
Sure. In the beginning of Srimad Bhagavatam, it is established Tene Brahma, the supreme absolute truth, the personality of Godhead, instructed Brahma in the Vedic knowledge through his heart. Therefore, the evidence that Vedic knowledge is free from the defects of mistake, illusions, cheating, and imperfection is that it is spoken by the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Janardhan, and thus has been followed from the time immemorial beginning from Brahma. The Vedic religion or the principle of the Veda has been followed by the highly cultured population of India since time immemorial. No one can trace out the history of Vedic religion. Therefore, it is Sanatan, and any blasphemy against the Vedas is calculated to be atheism. The Vedas are described as Setu, which means a bridge. If one wants to attain his special existence, one has to cross the ocean of nescience. The Vedas are the bridge by which to cross such a great ocean. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Yeah. So if you want to understand our spiritual existence, we need to cross this ocean through Vedas. Yeah, because Vedas is all the understanding. Pravinji, can you hear us? Anilji? Anilji, can you hear?
Yeah. The Vedas describe how to divide the human race into 4 divisions according to quality and working capacity. This is a very scientific system, and it is also Sanatana, for no one can trace out its history, and it has no dissolution. No one can stop the system of Varga, Varna, and Ashram, or the caste and division. For example, whether or not the one accepts the name Brahmana, there is a class in society which is known as the intelligent class and which is interested in spiritual understanding and philosophy. Similarly, there is a class of men who are interested in administration and in ruling others. In the Vedic system, these martially spirited men are called Kshatriya. Similarly, everywhere there is a class of men who are interested in economic development, business, industry, and money making. They are called Vaishyas. And there is another class who are neither intelligent nor materially spirited, or endowed with the capacity for economic development, but who simply can serve others. They are called Shudras, or the laborer class. This system is Sanatan. It comes from time immemorial, and it will continue in the same way. There is no power in the world which can stop it. Therefore, since this Sanatan Dharma system is eternal, one can elevate himself to the highest standard of his spiritual life by following the Vedic principles. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Yeah, so very important facts mentioned here, like those 4 systems, right? The caste system, which was known as Shudra, Vaishya, Kshatriya, and Brahman, is not because somebody is born in those castes. It's because based on the work which a person is doing, based on the level of characters which everyone has developed and the karmas they are doing, that's how they are classified, right? So people who are intelligent, who are spiritually inclined, they are in the spiritual thing, are like Brahmins, right? People who are administration, they are interested in ruling, are Kshatriyas. And then the people in business, economic development, money making are Vaishyas. And the people who are doing more labor work, right, are called Shudras. So it's not like because somebody is born in some place and that's how they were classified. But the fact of life is what is being mentioned is somebody or is belonging to one of those 4 divisions, right, by way of work. So, and the reason that has been given also is because that's also important, that since the Sanatan Dharma system is eternal, one can elevate himself. So irrespective of whether we are Vaishya, Shudra, Brahman or Kshatriya, one, by doing the devotional service, can elevate himself to the highest standard of spiritual life by following the Vedic principles, is what has been mentioned. Yeah. So pretty interesting. I think we are going to pause here because already the time. And there are, I think, 3 or 4 more shloks in this chapter. So we are going to complete this tomorrow. And we'll hear the kirtan for tomorrow. Is everyone available tomorrow? Will everyone join? Because I'm
Yes.
okay. I'm trying to get Dr. Kamalji Vedanti ji, who is a great, like, very, very well-known Srimad Bhagavatam. He does katha like for the best of the bests. Okay, like in Chitrakoot Dham, or if he'll in like Suktal, right? People who manage like Rishikesh, he will go and do Bhagavad Katha there, right? So he's like a Jagat Guru's place. He is in Raleigh. I'm going to pick him up tomorrow, but I'll pick him up after 9. So I hope we can, I'll try my best to see if he can come and join us for 10 to 15 minutes. Yeah, so it will be nice if everyone can join in tomorrow. Anyone who is planning not to join tomorrow?
Gajendra, if it helps to do it earlier, because that way if you can join or present, even that might be an option to think.
No, he has a lecture in the temple from 7 to 9.
No, so after 9, I'm saying when he comes to your place or whenever you pick up, if 10 o'clock is late for him, then
No,
you
that should
consider
be-
to start earlier.
Yeah, no, that's a good suggestion, but I think it will be 10 by the time I bring him home.
Okay.
So he's going to stay with us. And so we'll just figure out whatever time works. And that will be nice to see him. He's also people who are in Raleigh area. He is in HSNC speaking on Ramayana. He will be speaking till Saturday, 7 to 9 p.m. Except Saturday he'll be talking 11 to 1 a.m. So if you're interested, definitely he's like a doctor in Sanskrit and Ramayana. So very renowned, like when Yogi
Nice.
does anything, he is like the chief guest. So that's the level of his personality, but irrespective of that, more important, he is like he has ashram in Kashi, in Vrindavan, and in MP, and very well known there, and very well good speaker, right? Devotion. So we'll get him. Pravinji, can you hear us? Yeah, I think Pravinji is outside walking or something. So anyway, so try to come tomorrow. We'll try to get him. That'll be nice. I'll ask him to speak on significance of Srimad Bhagavatam. So that should be good. Yeah. All right. So we'll do the kirtan for 3-4 minutes, and then we'll see you tomorrow at 10. Yeah. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare
All right. Hey Krishna. See you tomorrow.
Hare Krishna. See you tomorrow.
Hare Krishna.